Hey guys, it is Coach Sarah coming to you with day 3 of your digestive and autoimmune reset. I'm excited to bring you guys a talk tonight that is probably going to hit home for quite a few of you because tonight we're going to talk about stress, and we're going to talk about how stress affects our gut health and our overall health and what we can do about it. So I want to start by saying, the same exact stressors, your job pressure, your children, money, your relationships, intense exercise, and a strict diet can both do one of two things for you. They can do one, they can energize you and inspire you. Or two, they can diminish your will and sap your mojo. So I want you to think for a second about those things in your life. Your job, your children, your relationships, your exercise routine, and your nutrition regimen. And what are those things doing for you right now? Are they energizing and inspiring you? Or are they diminishing your will and sapping your mojo? Think about that. And while you think about that, if you're watching here live with me tonight, throw a 1 up in the comments below. And if you're watching on the replay, put a 2 up in the comments below. So have you thought about it? What category are you in? Are you having yourself be energized, or are you having your will and your mojo sapped? Well, reaching your true health potential is dependent on you finding your stress sweet spot and then using that sweet spot to your advantage in order to propel yourself toward your health goals. It's a well-known fact that being stressed out can make it really hard for you to reach your health and wellness goals. Would you agree with that? Throw me some hearts if you agree with that. That being stressed out and crazed can make it really hard for you to hit your health and your wellness goals. If I could hit my own heart emojis, I'd be hitting them, because I've definitely been in that position where I've been trying to get somewhere with my health and my fitness, and my stress level was preventing me from attaining it. But did you know that not having enough stress can also be inhibitive of you getting to your health and wellness goals? I bet you didn't know that. So you see, because stress isn't a thing that you experience. It's not something tangible that you get afflicted with. Stress is your response to the challenges that you face on a day-to-day basis. Our cumulative list of stressors, like the things that I mentioned before, which we will discuss in more length here coming up, can either help us get it done like a superhero and be in that can-do mode, or those cumulative list of stressors can have us crumbling like a Kleenex that went through the washing machine inside of your pocket. Think about that for a second. How many of you guys have ever gone through a stressful situation in your life, either physically, emotionally, mentally, and it's just made you crumble? It is not uncommon to see that happen post-trauma, post-stress, and to see that breakdown of a person mentally or physically. The stress performance continuum is something that we can see. We talk about that stress sweet spot. So that stress performance continuum is when, as stress increases, performance increases to a certain point. And then once we get past our sweet spot, as stress continues to increase, performance then starts to decrease again. So it's very much a bell-shaped curve. So what it looks like is when we are low performance and low stress, we see that person who's like, I'm bored. Well, when performance goes up slightly and stress goes up slightly, now we're in a place where maybe you've got my attention. When we're in our sweet spot, that sweet spot can be described as that feeling of like, I am wrecking it. I'm killing it. I am owning it. That is our sweet spot. But then when we start to further increase our stress, we start to see a decrease in our performance. And that looks like I'm kind of starting to freak out. I'm getting a little worried. I don't know if I can sustain this. And then when we further increase our stress and we max out on that stress scale, that, my friends, is where we crash and burn. And we can either crash and burn physically or we can crash and burn mentally. So remember, our brain and our gut are directly related. So whether we're crashing and burning mentally or physically, it's going to be affecting us physically. So the key to managing your stress effectively is finding that sweet spot. Where is that for you? That place where you're experiencing just enough stress, but not too much. We want to have enough stress to help us reach our potential, but we don't want to have so much that we get into that mode where we crash and burn. And like Tyler just noted down below, and hi boo, that's the place where we reach what's called the health crisis. So one of my favorite quotes about stress is this: the best time for us to relax and de-stress is when you don't have time for it. How many of you can relate to that? Because in our North American culture, we have a really skewed view of stress and relaxation. It's almost as if we wear our stress like a badge of honor. Like, I worked 120 hours. I am such a badass. I am so stressed out. I am so busy. And we wear it like a badge of honor. Instead of focusing on how we can undo that. And then we view relaxation as something which should be reserved for maybe that 1 or 2 times that we choose to go on vacation for the year. Or something that makes us lazy. How many of you have thought about that? Like if you were to relax, that it makes you lazy? Because again, I was one of those people who equated relaxing with being lazy. Don't be ashamed if you're one of those people. It's something that's very common in our culture to view relaxation as laziness. But you see, the best way to balance these areas of stress and relaxation is actually to build recovery and rest time into your day every day. And I know some of you are probably shaking your heads right now going, I don't have time for that. But daily recovery is something that it's uncommon in our culture, but it's extremely common in other cultures and other demographics. Are you familiar with the word siesta? Have you ever heard of that? Gonna go take a siesta? That is not a new thing. Taking a midday rest, taking a siesta, is something that is extremely common in other cultures. And why? Because they work hard and therefore they take a midday rest to help their body recover. It's not something that makes one lazy. It's something that brings one life. But yet we view it as something that should be optional. That the harder we work, the better we'll be. Not true, friends. Another demographic that we need to consider when we're thinking about rest and recovery are athletes. Athletes are another demographic that is known for including rest and recovery strategies in their daily routine. Why? Because their physical performance depends on them being 100%. But the thing is, guys, if you have a body, you are an athlete. You should be treating your body just like any other athlete out there. We are all athletes. We're athletes of life. And we need to treat our bodies as athletes. Not just those people who are training for competitions, but training for life. Life is an event. And we need to be able to perform. So why are we choosing to not allow ourselves the rest and recovery that we need so that we can counteract that stress? Well, the reason why it's so important for us to manage our stress is that it comes down to our gut health and our autoimmunity. And in order to fully understand the concept of how gut health and autoimmunity relate back to stress, it's important to understand how our brain and nervous system works. So, one way to categorize our brain or nervous system is to break it down into the types of activity that it does. So, we have sympathetic activity from our sympathetic nervous system, which is our fight or flight part of our nervous system. So that's when we are in a stress response, a high stress response, when our body is freaking out. And that can be via a lot of different reasons, and we're going to talk about how we can address those a little bit later. And the other part is our parasympathetic activity, which is coming from our parasympathetic portion of our nervous system, which is our rest and digest portion of our nervous system, which is what we want to maximize if we're trying to reduce the stress response in our body. So as you can probably already guess by what I've talked to you about already, we tend to be pretty far in the end of experiencing the sympathetic input. So if you think about this from a Eastern medicine perspective, we have yin and yang. Well, yang is the negative input or the sympathetic portion of the nervous system, and the yin is the parasympathetic or the de-stressing input. Well, in our culture, we have way too much yang and not enough yin. So we become very, very imbalanced. So our job, our bills, our relationships, your morning rush hour traffic, I mean, really anything that puts your body into that fight or flight or that freak out mode, that is going to qualify as being sympathetic activity or that yang activity. Whatever those things are for you, that chronic sympathetic activity is what leads to high levels of circulating cortisol and adrenaline. And cortisol and adrenaline are both produced by our adrenal glands, which our adrenal glands sit adjacent to our kidneys, right on top of them, actually. So when we're chronically stressed, the adrenal glands will continue to get that input that they need to be pumping out those two hormones, cortisol and adrenaline. And our body perceives that we are in danger. So because our body perceives that we're in danger and it's going into self-preservation mode, it literally shuts down all of our other non-critical functions. And I know you're asking right now, what are my non-critical functions? Well, guys, let me tell you, non-critical functions, they're actually pretty critical. So our non-critical functions can be classified as things like digestion. That sounds pretty non-critical, right? Liver metabolism. That sounds pretty non-critical, right? Detoxification of our systems. That's pretty non-critical, right? Cellular repair, like what we talked about last night, repairing your mitochondria, those things that all of your cells have in them to put out energy, you can't repair your cellular structures if you are chronically stressed out. Immune function is considered a non-critical function of the body. And if you are chronically stressed, your immune function goes down. Gut health is a non-critical function. And if you are chronically stressed, your gut health will basically diminish. Reproduction is a non-critical function of the body. And if you are experiencing chronic stress, your reproduction will be diminished. I want you guys to take a second and consider the rates of fertility treatment in our country. Take a moment. Think about that. I guarantee that everyone here watching this video tonight has either experienced or knows someone who has experienced infertility. I guarantee it. Chronic stress is the root of our reproductive issues, because chronic stress leads back to all of these other health challenges. So over time, if we're experiencing chronic stress and then we start experiencing disrupted digestion, impaired liver metabolism, impaired ability to detoxify our body, impaired ability to repair our cellular structure, impaired immune function, impaired GI health, and impaired fertility, it's going to look like this. One, we're going to have poor ability to manage our blood sugar levels, and we are going to become insulin resistant. And over time, that's going to turn into diabetes. Two, we're going to be experiencing depression. We are going to be experiencing sleep disruptions. How many of you out there have trouble sleeping? How many of you wake up in the middle of the night? Think about it. So many people rely on sleep aids. So many people just don't know what to do to improve their sleep. They've tried it all. 3, decreased thyroid conversion and downregulation of your metabolism. Oh, and don't let me forget, insatiable cravings for carbohydrates. 4, altered hormone activity. And 5, muscle wasting, actual muscle loss, because your amino acids are being diminished from your skeletal muscle. And amino acids are the building blocks for lean muscle mass. So the net result of all of these things combined is a hormone hurricane, a reproductive nightmare, muscle loss, and weight gain. That's what you're going to be left with over time, if left in this state. Typically, I can't say that this is what my clients come to me looking for, but it's what they come to me suffering from and struggling with and have no answers for, because they have tried it all. And they have really tried a lot. But the answer isn't in a pill. The answer isn't in a prescription medication. And what most people don't understand is that it's not going to stop there. This isn't going to be just you get sick and you stay sick. With the overabundance of cortisol and adrenaline that are getting put through your system, eventually your adrenal glands can't keep up. They can't keep producing all this cortisol and adrenaline. And what's going to happen eventually is that your adrenal glands are going to burn out. And that's where we see people start to struggle with chronic fatigue syndrome, which is another autoimmune disease. So this is not a happy prognosis. This is not where I want to see someone when they come to me. You know, they've been ignoring the whispers. There's probably been plenty of whispers along the way with the person who has chronic fatigue syndrome. But the thing is, sometimes we have our head down and we're forging ahead, not looking up, not paying attention to the whispers until it's too late. So the question that remains is, what can we do to prevent the cascade of negative stress-related outcomes? And the answer is balance. And there is a chiropractic physician, and she's actually, she does integrate a lot of integrative nutrition work, and her name is Dr. Rita Marie Lucalzo. And what she refers to when finding this balance in your stress levels is she wants you to look at finding freedom. And it's the acronym. And you know, so I want you guys to get out a sheet of paper if you haven't already, if you're not already taking some notes. And I want you to mark down these 7 areas. So spell it out. FREEDOM. And if you can examine these 7 areas in your life, which we're going to be doing during the gut protocol, you are going to be majorly overhauling your stress levels and positively impacting your health. So instead of focusing on the sympathetic activities or the stressful activities, we need to focus on what we can do to de-stress and how we can improve our parasympathetic activity. So looking at those things, freedom starts with our F. And our F is forgiveness. Forgiveness is an incredibly powerful tool in reducing our overall stress levels. And for those of you who have never experienced forgiveness in your life and the impact of forgiveness in your life, it is something that we are going to dive into during the Gut Health Challenge, and something that we're going to examine as how it relates to forgiveness. Because trauma is a lot of our deeply rooted stress, and all trauma has a need for forgiveness at some level, whether it be forgiveness of another person or forgiveness of ourselves even for certain things. So forgiveness is going to be the first link in this freedom equation. The R in our freedom equation is going to be restful sleep. So parasympathetic activity is going to rely on us being able to get into a restful state. So restful sleep is going to be incredibly important for us to recover overnight, for our human growth hormone production to be optimized while we sleep, which is how our body does a lot of the reparation that we need. So restful sleep is our R. Our E is going to be looking at our environment. So not only do we need to look at our external environment, so we need to look at, what do we have in our house? What does our space in our home look like? Is our space cluttered and messy? Or is our space neat and organized? Who are the people that we surround ourselves with in our environment? Are those people positive and uplifting, or are they negative and are they bringing us down? As well as, what kind of things are we putting in and on our body in our environment from a chemical perspective. Are we burning candles in our home, which artificial fragrances are known endocrine disruptors? Are we, and I'll get more into diet, but environmentally wise, are we eating pesticides on our food? Are we exposing ourselves to chemical laden personal care products? Environment is key. Having a toxic environment is highly stressful on your system. Are you drinking filtered water? Or are you drinking out of your tap? Environment is huge. And we have a lot of different ways that we can impact our personal environment. The second E is exercise. And just like I talked about last night with improving your mitochondrial health, exercise, when we talk about reducing our stress levels, needs to be moderate to low intensity. Moderate to low intensity. So 15 to 30 minutes of low intensity strength training, walking, or any kind of low to moderate activity for 3 to 5 sessions per week is ideal if we're trying to improve our parasympathetic activity. D is diet. So when we talk about the ways that we can decrease our stress through diet, is removing those acidic foods that we are inundating ourselves with. So processed foods are a big one. And guys, as much as I love the taste, coffee is a big one when we talk about stress and acidity in the gut. So diet is really important. And then as well as eating organic. If you are questioning the whole organic thing, there is such a thing as the Dirty Dozen and the Clean 15. So if you're really tight on your budget and you are really adamant about eating conventional foods, then try to eat fruits and vegetables that are out of the Clean 15 and try to avoid the fruits and vegetables in the Dirty Dozen, because the pesticides that are sprayed on conventional produce are why we want to avoid them, and you cannot wash many of those things off. When we talk about the Dirty Dozen, those fruits and vegetables cannot have the pesticides removed through washing. So make sure that even with your organic produce, that you are still soaking your produce in your sink, and you can use something as simple as water, vinegar, and sea salt to soak your vegetables in, or you can get a vegetable soak. You can buy them pre-made. I know that there's Rebel Greens makes a great one. Young Living actually makes a great produce soak. But either way, diet, it's about eliminating inflammatory food sources and putting the good things in your body that your body needs. And if you're eating conventional produce that's sprayed with pesticides, those pesticides are chelators. And what do chelators do? They pull the minerals out so that you don't get them. And it defeats the whole purpose of eating a vegetable in the first place. So focus on organic produce. And if you're not eating organic, focus on eating from the Clean 15. And if you don't know what the Clean 15 is, Google Clean 15. Your O in your freedom equation is having an outlet. What are you doing for fun? We don't have fun anymore. Fun has become a foreign concept in our culture. When's the last time you belly laughed? When is the last time you just went and had a good time for no reason other than to have a good time? I challenge you to find something over this holiday when you do have a little bit of time to have fun. Oh, sweetheart, I see your comment. For fun, you hang out with me. You're so sweet. Oh, so fun, having an outlet is your O. And then M is mindfulness and changing your outlook. So many times when we are stuck in this stress cycle, we tend to get stuck in a bit of a victim mentality, or this is just my life. This is just the way things are going to be. I guess this is just the way that my life's going to go from here on out. Well, no, that's not true. You have the ability to turn these things around. You have the ability to take control and change the outcome. But it's dependent on whether or not you want to achieve freedom. So I ask you, my friends, do you want freedom from the way you feel? Or do you want to stay stuck? Because I wanted freedom from the way I felt. I want my clients to achieve freedom from the way they feel. And freedom does not mean you can run and hide from your issues. Freedom means you have to face them. And it means that you're going to have to do some work. And not just work on your diet, but work on yourself. Work on this. Work on seeing things for exactly the way they are. Not writing yourself a permission slip. Not blaming other people for your circumstances. Not blaming your genetics for your circumstances. Not blaming what has happened to you for your circumstances. You are not a victim of your circumstances. Because a lot of times, if we are someone who has gone through trauma or has gone through hard times in our life, we get stuck in that phase of being angry and wanting to dole out justice to those people who have hurt us. But guys, it is not our responsibility to dole out justice. That's the universe's job. Our job and our responsibility is to provide ourselves closure. And that closure starts with forgiveness. So if you want to be free from the way you feel, then you need to look at freedom. You need to seek freedom. And the digestive health protocol and reset plan that we're going to be doing with you guys starting next week, in 1 week, is going to provide you just that. We're going to be examining all of the components of freedom and exactly how they're going to affect you if you're able to achieve them, which I know you all are able to. So anyway, that's all I have for you tonight, guys. So I hope that you are able to start thinking about what aspects of that freedom equation you're missing, and how you're going to start providing yourself closure in some of these areas. I'm excited to see you all. Yes, Rebecca, rip up the permission slips. Rip them up. Because the more you write yourself the permission slip to stay where you are, the longer you're going to stay stuck. So I challenge you tonight to pull out those proverbial permission slips out of your pocket. That, it's just my genetics, or it's because I have this fill in the blank condition. It's always been this way. My mom has it. My sister has it. This, that, the other. You are not a victim of your circumstances unless you choose to be. It's a choice. So I'm excited to see you guys come alongside us starting next week. It is 1 week until we start the digestive reset. We're going to be coming to you again over the next few days. Tomorrow, we are going to be talking more about nutrition. I'm really excited. I'll be coming back to you live with Dr. Tyler. I'm in Wisconsin tonight, and he is back in Chicago. See, we weren't able to tune in together with you tonight, but we will see you both again tomorrow. Thank you for those of you who stuck around and tuned in with me late. I had some travel delays, and I wasn't able to go on as early as I had anticipated. So again, thank you so much for those of you who have stuck by me the last 3 days, watched these videos, commented, throwing up all these awesome emojis, because you inspire me to keep bringing you that top-notch information that I know that you guys want and need. So again, this is Coach Sarah, day 3 of your digestive reset and how to find freedom from your stress. Talk to you tomorrow. Bye.